Happy Sabbath, everybody. A pleasant good evening to everybody in District 8. I'm talking about everybody in Freetown, St. Philip's, Newfield, Bethesda, and Christian Hill. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to come and greet you on a Sabbath day. The bare fact that we are here today is the bare fact that God has given us an opportunity to make a difference in our lives and in somebody else's life. I am pleased to share with you today a thought. And when I finish share with you a thought, I will just leave a few notices with you. I just want you to continue to hold on to God. Hold on to his unchanging hands, knowing full well, even if we try our best or even if we deny him, that he still runs after us. That's the God that we serve. And I am grateful to that God that we serve. I want to share with you something today coming from the passage. Passage is coming from Exodus. Exodus chapter 3. Exodus chapter 3. And we will begin at verse 1. You see, when I look at Exodus, I come in here and I'm hearing about Moses. Begins with Moses. Says, now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of the bush. So he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. I want to remind each and every one of you, here is it that we're looking at this situation where Moses has escaped from Egypt. I'm talking about his first escape, where he ran away from Egypt because he found himself in what we call today pocketry, in trouble. Why is it that he found himself in trouble? This young man, which was the prince of Egypt, I want to let you know, he realized that at this point in time that he belonged to a different tribe. He belonged to the tribe of Israel. And because he belonged to the tribe of Israel, he realized that he could not stand anymore of being with Egypt. I want to let you know, friends, when he realized that he could not stand, he began to defend his people. And the first time when he saw one individual beating upon his individual, he spoke to him, he tried to get him to stop, and he eventually killed him. The next day, it was two of his own Israelites who were fighting. He tried to part them, and they brought up the incident that happened before. You know, when Moses realized that this thing was noised all about, he took it upon himself and he ran away. I want to let you know, Moses now was in the valley. And he was out there tending to the sheep of his father-in-law, Jethro. I want to let you know, friends, when I look at this, here is it that now God comes to Moses. You see, I want to let you know that God, if he wants us, he will call us. And I want to let you know, in calling Moses, here is it that God decided that he will appear to him from a burning bush. When Moses looked at the burning bush, he realized that the bush was not consumed. And I'm telling you, that's a miracle. That's something that God is showing. He's catching his attention. I also want to let you know, my friends, that even though he was looking to catch Moses' attention, he got it real good. Because the bottom line is, I want to share with you one thing today. As a matter of fact, God has been mighty good to Moses. But it says that Moses has excuses after excuses. I'm saying to you, here's our situation. That God is saying in verse 10, it says, God says, come now therefore, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, my children, the children of Israel out of Egypt. Boy, I'm saying to you, when Moses would have heard that he was going back to Egypt, Moses must have been shocked. The reason being, my friends, here is it that Moses is an individual who is wanted. You see, many of us may be wanted. The reason why I say wanted, because many of us may be individuals who have done other individuals harm. And that's why we are fearful to represent God. That's why we are fearful to go out. Here's my situation. You may have been in a relationship and God is calling you now. God is calling you to go back to that place go back and to show them his goodness and what they have done in your life and what is possible in that person's life. I'm saying to you, God, you may have squandered the money that somebody have given you, and God is sending you right back so you can be a witness to the individuals in that area. You may be somebody who have robbed individuals. You may have mistreated individuals. You may have relationships that you've messed up. But God is saying to you that you can go back, and even though you go back, you can represent me aright. I want all of us to understand the importance of us going back. It's very important. And God says, come now, therefore, and I will send you unto Pharaoh. And here's Moses. Moses was his first objection. Many of us in life, we have objections after objections. There's no need for us to object so far as God is concerned. There is no need. You see, we must understand that the God that we serve is able to bring us through the problems that we've caused before. Says here, but Moses says, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and that I should bring the children of Israel out? The first thing we ought to know that when we are sent, we represent God. In other words, you are an ambassador for Christ. Now, if I say that you are an ambassador for Christ, if you look around you and you may ask the questions, ambassadors make probably the most money. I'm saying to you, you have a high calling to be representing God. Each and every one of us have to understand, if God calls us, we ought to represent him aright. Means therefore, my speech have got to be in tune with how God does his business. My way of life have got to be in tune with how God does it. I'm saying to you, I've got to know who God is, and I've got to make sure I walk like he walk. I talk like he talk. I'll do all the things that are necessary. That's being an ambassador. We are ambassadors of Christ. You see, when we have a calling, you see, God calls you and he equips you. So you have nothing to fear. All you need to do in life is to accept the call that God gives you. Let me tell you something. Many of you may have been called. You may have been called to represent him in the church. But you've got to represent him. If you're called as an elder, you've got to do the elder work. If you're called as a deacon, God desires you to do the deacon work. If you're called as a deaconess, anybody else in the church, family life director, anybody else, God calls you. You see, when you're called, I'm saying to you that God deems you special and he will equip you. We have got to understand that the God that we serve is well able to do for us that which we can't do for ourselves. Moses was there, and Moses knew that he made problems. He killed an Egyptian. He ran away. The statute of limitation would never run out. He was just not free to step in there. They could call him back and execute him at any time. But yet God called him. So no matter what your former situation may have been, understand that if God calls you, he will repair that breach. That's the God that we serve. And so that's what I want to let you know. No matter if you are worried about what will happen or who you are a child of the King. Just do what God asks you to do. Don't worry about what others may say about you, but do what God calls you to do. And that's what I'm going to stay with you tonight. That's the first one that Moses used. He says, God, who am I? When you're sent by God, you're a child of the King. You see, he was a prince in Egypt for an Egyptian master. But the bottom line, if you're a prince in God's kingdom, you're a prince for the King of the universe. I just want to remind you that God is willing to save all of us. Yes, he is. I just want to also remind you a couple of things that we have to share today. I want to share with you a couple of things. We have to understand our notices are there. and we will have there are certain applications out there for qualified persons. They would like an early childhood education teacher, janitor. The information is there on the board. We'll send it out to you so that you can know and you can be a part if you're interested in those areas. The early childhood education teacher and the janitor. Also, end it now. Yes, on the 22nd. That's right, the 22nd of August. You've got to make sure, ladies, you're wearing your t-shirt on that day. Not only that, in the afternoon, there's an AY program, and the topic that they'll be discussing, the mind of the abuser. Interesting topic. So you've got to make sure that you are there. I also want to remind our family life directors, coming on the 6th towards the 12th of September, we have Family Life Week. We are asking everyone to make sure we plan. We are doing programs. We can get together, discuss. What can we do? Maybe we can do it in Zoom. Maybe we can have discussions wherever, whoever we can call to be a part of our Family Life program. I just want all of you to make sure that you take time to plan so that we can equip our persons, our families in District 8. I want to remind you, my friends, every week I try to remind you that once we are here, and we are coming to church, there are protocols that we must observe. Let us observe those protocols. Make sure you wear your mask, cover your nose and your mouth. Make sure when you get to church, you wash your hands. And as you get up there, keep your 6-foot distancing from everybody. Also, make sure you sanitize yourself. Check your temperature. And if your temperature is too high or problematic, whatever they ask you to do, whether it's to go home or to rest a little while and see what happens, obey those things that we're asking you to do. Friends of mine, when you get in there, sit where you ought to sit. Operate where you ought to operate. Give that elbow bump if you have to give that elbow bump. But most of all, ensure that you are keeping those protocols. May God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your Sabbath. Have a wonderful Sabbath, my friends. God bless you again.